Ferrari's squad hoped to win its first championship since 2008 after the team started last season with a good 1-2 finish in the opening race and a victory in the third. However, it came up short, placing second in the Constructors and Drivers' Championships. As a result, it's currently looking for a new team principal. Find out what ex-Ferrari driver Rene Arnoux said. Watch this video for full details. First up for Ferrari, a second-place season full of mistakes. Ferrari is unquestionably the most well-known and one of the most successful Formula One teams, having won the most Drivers' and Constructors' Championships. After two unimpressive seasons, it resumed competition in 2022, but Red Bull won both titles, and it was no match. At the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, team principal Matteo Binotto commented that he thinks they fulfilled their major target, to be back to being competitive in the new era of the 2022 cars. 9 days later, he left his position of authority after 4 years. Binotto said he was departing the company he loves, of which he's been a part for 28 years, with the tranquility that comes from the belief that he has made every effort to achieve the objectives set. Binotto brought the team back to a position of competitiveness, according to Ferrari CEO Benedetto Vigna, and Ferrari is in a great position to relaunch their effort to win the ultimate prize in motorsport. On December 13th, Ferrari said that Frederic Vasseur would take over as the team's general manager and principal. Vasseur has a lengthy background in motorsports and has worked with Leclerc in youth racing. Since July 2017, he has served as CEO and team principal of Saubert Motorsport, which manages the Alfa Romeo team. Vasseur will be Ferrari's fifth team manager in 10 years. Toto Wolff has been in charge of Mercedes for almost 10 years, while Christian Horner has led Red Bull for 18 seasons. Vasseur's new position will start on January 9th. He will discover a team with a lot of strengths to build on, as well as challenges to overcome. Ferrari only earned 4 victories despite having the most pole positions of any team, with 12. None of the victories occurred in the second part of the year, by which time Red Bull easily won both championships. Leclerc said, "Considering how far they've come from last year, it's a fantastic step forward." However, he obviously cannot ignore how frustrating their midseason has been. They moved from having a significant point lead in the championship to having a significant point deficit. During that season's middle stretch, Ferrari's demise started. In Spain and Azerbaijan, Leclerc's engines failed. He made poor tactical decisions in Monaco, England, and Hungary, and misunderstood radio instructions. In France, he made a mistake. Each of the 6 events was winnable. After Leclerc's error in France, Binotto stated that there was no reason the team couldn't win the final 10 races of the year. Ferrari was not successful. Leclerc, who finished 146 points behind Max Verstappen, said they simply needed to improve on the mistakes they made last year. Carlos Sainz, a teammate of Leclerc's, struggled at first with the F175 race car and was never in contention for the championship. Near the end of the season, Sainz, who finished 5th and was 62 points behind Leclerc, remarked that there was a hard first third of the season when he struggled a bit with the vehicle balance, with the driving style, and a car that for some reason didn't suit him straight out of the box. He had to struggle a lot to get through it, and he's been much satisfied with the automobiles through the latter 2/3. Red Bull and Verstappen, according to Sainz, are the quicker car and the quicker driver, and Ferrari will need to be faultless to overtake them. Sainz, who took the British Grand Prix, nevertheless highlighted certain advantages. He claims that in terms of sheer performance, they're not far. They will be at the same level as Red Bull or faster. The driver said they just needed to put a little bit more power and a little bit more downforce in the car. Different approaches to development, with Red Bull prioritizing weight loss and Ferrari focusing on aerodynamic improvements, favored Red Bull. Red Bull's advantage was increased because it was lighter than Ferrari, which improved tire wear. Another factor was that Ferrari had to reduce the power of its smaller turbo when operating at high elevations, such as in Mexico City. Leclerc opined that the 2023 objective must be to win the championship. He remarked that he's optimistic about their ability to keep up with Red Bull this year. Up next, Mick Schumacher to replace Lewis Hamilton in 2024 on this condition. If George Russell defeats the 7-time world champion once more in 2024, his nephew Mick Schumacher may take Lewis Hamilton's place at Mercedes, according to former Formula One driver Ralf Schumacher. Russell finished ahead of Hamilton in the Drivers' Championship in his debut season with the Silver Arrows, a feat that Jenson Button and Nico Rosberg had only accomplished. For the first time in his Formula One career, the 37-year-old did not finish on the podium or in first place in 2022, much to the surprise of the paddock. If it happens again in 2023, Ralph has predicted that Hamilton may hesitate before continuing, but he finally decides for himself. Ralph told Sport 1 that anything might happen at Mercedes. Ralph quizzed whether Lewis would even intend to stay if George Russell outperformed him in speed. Ralph said that it would be thrilling. Lewis, however, enjoys such high regard at Mercedes that he makes his own decisions. In any event, he won't care about the money. He already has plenty of that. Whoever the new car suits better will be the deciding deciding factor. This year, the interplay between Russell and Hamilton's crew will be fascinating, particularly if Mercedes has a car that can contend for the championship. Michael Schumacher's brother is a huge Russell supporter, calling him massive and claiming Russell outperformed Rosberg in their 2016 matchup with Hamilton. According to Schumacher, it's crucial to keep in mind that when Lewis was a young driver, he joined him as a teammate, adding that Lewis was the best in every way. If Hamilton shocks everyone and retires at the end of 2023, a full-time position for Mercedes' next reserve driver may become available. After the German was fired by Haas and was left without a seat, Mick moved to the Brackley-based organization. His uncle thinks Mick's employment with Mercedes is a wonderful chance and believes it'll benefit the team and the 23-year-old. The ex-F1 driver said that Mick has wonderful potential there. He added that he might observe a great team at work and gain a lot of knowledge, and he isn't just a development driver, where he can undoubtedly assist Mercedes in the simulator to regain the lead. As a reserve driver, he must step in to take the place of a regular driver that drops out. Up next, former F1 driver Johnny Herbert predicts Ferrari resurgence and a tough year for Red Bull. Charles Leclerc's 2 victories in the season's first 4 races gave Ferrari a fantastic start, but the team faltered in the title chase. After overcoming their initial teething issues, Red Bull dominated the season with Max Verstappen as an example of how to successfully defend your World Championship title. But that early season speed display may come back for Leclerc and Ferrari, as veteran F1 driver Johnny Herbert predicts they will both make a comeback in 2023 with Mercedes. In response to questions about Mercedes' development, he told Motorsport magazine that he'd heard conflicting reports from the end of the year in Abu Dhabi. Herbert said it suggested that it was still unsure of how to resolve the porpoising problem, and also suggested that the opposite is true. He hoped the opposite was true. He said while there are still indications that Lewis Hamilton hasn't lost it, he wants to see George Russell continue to display his brilliance. He added one would expect that Mercedes has restructured the idea in light of what it has discovered. Up next, Herbert thinks Red Bull is beatable. As restrictions on the team's ability to improve their car take effect, Herbert believes that the penalty for exceeding the $145 million cost cap will be difficult for them to overcome. According to Herbert, it won't likely have as much of an overall negative impact as Ferrari and Mercedes are experiencing. He said the goal remains to overthrow Red Bull, and he believes they can achieve the goal, as Mercedes and Ferrari demonstrated early in the previous season. Mercedes will be looking to resume winning consistently this year, and Lewis Hamilton and George Russell facing off for the championship excite Herbert. He said George versus Lewis in a competitive Mercedes, with a 7-time world champion going for his 8th against a new driver going for his 1st, would be a tasty proposition. He added that Lewis will again have a difficult time because George is still not at his best. Herbert said George would mature and therefore get better and stronger. He added that George appears to have the appropriate mindset, even from a political standpoint within the team. He claimed George is not a driver who will readily accept being the number 2. He has a strong character previously seen in Nico Rosberg. Finally, former Ferrari driver Rene Arnoux comments on Binotto's behavior. Rene Arnoux, a former Ferrari driver, claimed it was overdue for the Italian racing team to bid Mattia Binotto farewell. He harshly condemns the actions of the former Ferrari team manager. In an interview with La Gazzetta dello Sport, Arnoux expressed his regret that Ferrari did not win the title despite the team's strong performance. Although he recognizes that there were reliability issues, he believes that the team missed too many opportunities. He consequently criticizes Ferrari for its season-long errors. The enraged Frenchman said he has never been a fan of Binotto. Arnoux claimed someone who promises to perform better the following year is unworthy of the position. Rene added that he would have kicked him out a long time ago. According to Arnoux, Binotto's behavior was unacceptable because he led the best squad in the world. Arnoux claimed whether or not Jean Todt was liked, he never would have promised that the following year would be better. Arnoux added that Jean Todt would win and then consider the next year, but there aren't many individuals like Todt and Ron Dennis. According to Johnny Herbert, Max Verstappen and the Red Bull team should expect a tough season. Fans can't wait for the season to begin. Let us know what you think in the comments section. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.